Hi, I'm Pete Wenners from Pete's Professional Guide Service on Table Rock Lake in Missouri. And I'm here in Springfield, Missouri today at the Lew's National Headquarters with Mike Eutsler. And what we're going to do today is we're going to go over some of the Lew's spinning reels and bait casters. And we're not going to go over all of them, some of the basic ones. And Mike's going to show us a few new things that they've come out with. And so we've got some real interesting product, Mike.
Welcome, Pete.
Thanks for being on.
Glad you could come up and take a look at our reels. Lew's has been synonymous over the years with innovations, and as a company that's been around for a great many years. Lynn Reeves bought the company, the rights to it in 2008, and we've really made some great strides, both with our rods and our reels. One of our things that we kicked off for this year, last summer at ICAST, was our spinning reels. We had a line of spinning reels, but we have really had our engineers work on them, and I know you've got to use quite a few in the field testing on Table Rock Lake. So we've really been working on these reels.
Made a big improvement. You know, the laser spinning reel was a good little reel for the money, but a lot of us were wanting something a little smoother, a little lighter, and you really come up with two nice reels here, in the Speed Spin and the Team Lew's Gold.
We wanted to add some features to them that for economy reasons that were high quality. And one of the things we did, a lot of our anglers wanted a higher gear ratio, so we went to a 6:1 gear ratio. This reel's our Speed Spin or SGH 300 series. You can see the real neat cosmetic red.
Nice graphics on it.
Looks good. Sells for $59.99, and it's a super reel. Does a real fantastic job.
What do you get, about 26, 27 inches per revolution, per crank of line?
Yeah, and that's one thing that a lot of guys use spinning gears like to be able to take up the line a little faster, and this, it's not too fast. You can still work a grub slow or fish lure slow, but when you get that bite and need to take up some slack, you can do that. Now our next one is the next line up is our tournament series. You can see the graphics are a little bit different. It has just a little bit more ball bearings to it. It has 10 ball bearings with a graphite frame. These reels sell for $79.99 and are great product, and really look good. And then if you go to the top of the line on our spinning reels at this time, we have the Team Gold. Now Team Gold also has a 10 bearing system, but as you can tell, the graphics are a little sharper on it, and really attractive reel for under $130.
And weight wise too. I mean, you're
right.
Really decreasing the weight, which is making a whole rig between the rod and reel.
The stem and frame of this are carbon, and there again, it's just light as a feather, and the 10 ball bearings, it's smooth as silk. And I know you've used these for quite some time now, and they work really well. And our national pros, Mark Davis has been using these for quite some time, and John Murray, and they work out real well for those.
Well, one of the things you guys have been doing at Lew's, I mean, you just don't come up with a product and put it out there for sale. I know you guys have got some of the best fishermen in the FLW and the Bassmaster Elite Series that have been using these reels for a year and a half before you even put them out on the market.
Right.
So in the event that they needed something tweaked or something wasn't just right.
Right. That's one of the Lynn Reeves is a real stickler on that. He doesn't want the public to have to try out a product.
Right.
He wants it to any bugs that might have came up along the line out before it gets into their hand.
Like a lot of products, it seems like the consumer is the tester. Not in this case. He wants a good.
Not in our case. We have 18 national pros that do real well, and then we have a team of guys like yourself that throughout the United States that also help it. But our spinning reels are going to continue to improve. Make sure you look forward to next year. We'll have some new models out there also. Our bait casting reels, there again, they've been our mainstay. Lynn has a great company and of engineers that do a fantastic job. We start out on the low end of our scale. The lasers start out $79, and I tell you what, they've got a lot of features that you can pay a lot more and get a lot less than that.
And they're real easy reels to service. I mean, if you want to put grease in them, most all of them got a little deal right here where you can take a little screw out and pull the cover off and grease your gear case.
You put grease there to make sure you don't put oil in there. You don't want to fill that up with oil. You just want to put a dab of grease there, and then you put oil in the bearings. But that's one of the features that Lynn loves, is to have these things that where they work well, they're easy to clean. Our paddle handle is a patented handle that you don't have to add add-ons to
for the comfort,
or to be able to hang on. I've fished in these things with in the snow and rain, and know you have to, and you just don't slip off of those paddle handles. This particular model is our SS model, speed spool model. It's our #1 seller. Sells for under $100. And has some really nice cosmetics, some good features, and is a very durable. You know, we laugh at our service department. We call them the Maytag guy. You know, they really, we just very seldom have any problems. But if you do have a problem, you're going to talk to a person immediately. They're going to figure out what's they can fix and or what they can't fix, and they'll get right back to you. So that's a great thing of our company too. You're always going to talk, even in customer service or service departments, you're going to talk to people right off the bat.
And that's really important, because you know, from time to time you're going to have some issues, and the main thing is how you stand behind your product.
You betcha. Moving on up the line, last year year before in ICAST, we reintroduced the BB1 for those of us that are older and remember the old BB1s. They was a large spool reel that came out in the late 60s and early 70s. Lynn wanted to modernize that, but he didn't want to sacrifice the castability of these reels, and he came out with a low-profile reel that has all the qualities of the old standard, the old BB1N that a lot of us started fishing out when bass fishing first started. These reels, as you notice, don't have a side place adjustment on them. Right. They have a spring-loaded fastener there that holds it on. They come off the side. Then you adjust each one of these pins as to how you want your braking system to work. The neat thing about that is you can scrunch it all the way down where you have total braking, or you can continue backing off one at a time. You have 6 pins till you can adjust it to whatever lure you're using it.
And you know what I found on most of the BB1s, if I leave the 2 blues in, which is engaged, and the white's out, that's a real good starting point. And like on your speed spools that have the Speed Spool Tournament and the Tournament Pro, I find 2 in, 2 out is a good starting place for people.
You bet. The thing that people like about the BB series is they cast a long ways, and one of the features is why they cast a long ways is the distance from the center of the spool to where the line comes out of your awl up here in the front. That is a greater distance. It's farther. If you scrunch that distance down, you create more of an angle for that line coming off that spool, and then that's one of the secrets of why they cast farther.
And on the sensitivity of that, you know, I know, like David Fritz, one of his main deals, you'll notice on the BB1, which I've got here, it's got doesn't have the anti-reverse, so it's actually got your reel handle will back up just a little bit, but you can tell them about what it doesn't have in there as far as the clutch assembly in there.
On the instant anti-reverse, you don't have any play coming back at all. That's almost like all your modern reels are. The reason David likes the one that has just a little bit of comeback to it is because it uses a different bearing in here on the clutch bearing. It's a wider bearing. What that wider bearing translates to is better feel when you're reeling your line in. You have more feel on your spool, and you can actually feel the wobble of that crankbait. Or if you're slow rolling the spinnerbait, you can feel it's not much, but you feel just a little bit better of those blades turning, or when they stop turning, or when that crankbait stops wiggling like it was. That's when Mr. Bass has it in his mouth.
And that's what we're all looking for.
Yeah, and that gives you that split,
that little bit of extra feel. You know, the more you know what that bait is doing, the more you're going to know when you're getting.
And it takes a little bit of getting used to if you're not hadn't used them in the past, because you think, well, it comes back just a little bit. It's not supposed to do that, but it is designed. And we have 2 series of the BB1s that have that multi-stop, and also I'll show you another the newer BB1 that has that too.
Now you went a step further with the BB1 as well.
Right.
The Pro.
Yeah, and the Pro, I'll just show you it right now. The Pro series is this year's our sweetheart, I call them. What we did was a couple of things. It has a carbon fiber handle. This one doesn't. This one has a regular steel handle. The carbon fiber is going to make it lighter weight. We also took a little bit more metal off here. And one of the most innovative things is, you'll notice on the side plate we have an adjustment. And if you listen, you hear you have clicks. Each one of those clicks, there's 26 clicks that you can fine-tune that thing. It has one from free to 10 or max on the side plate there, but there's actually 26 different adjustments. And what that does on the adjustment, there again, you have a spring-loaded plate that brings your side plate off. And if you look in there, there's no magnets.
So nothing to adjust inside.
Nothing to adjust inside. You have the same pin-like system that you have on there, but you don't have magnets on this side. Each time you turn that one click, you move this beveled brass ring a little closer or a little farther away, whichever way you're going, and it creates a drag accordingly. The more, of course, you turn it higher, the number you turn it up, the more drag you're going to get.
Now, what's really sweet about that is you're running down a bank, say you're throwing a crankbait, you got the wind behind you, all of a sudden you turn and the wind's coming at you. A lot of us in the past would be a little too lazy to pull the side plate up, we'll end up getting a backlash. All you got to do is reach over. Same thing with changing from a lighter lure to a heavy lure, or vice versa.
Very same thing happened to me 2 weeks ago on Table Rock. Was fishing with the A-rig, and these will handle. I was actually throwing 25-pound fluorocarbon on my A-rig on this reel. And we were out of the wind. We come around the corner when the wind was switched to the north and was blasting into us. I just reached up here and done 2 clicks to it. No more problems.
Yeah.
And that's a neat thing on the go. And this reel sells for a little bit more. It's a $199 reel. The reason being the carbon graphite handle costs more, and then this extra braking system that we put on the outside and the inside costs a little more to do.
Now you were talking about the A-rig.
Oh yeah, this is a reel of Super Duty we designed a couple of years ago. Actually for braid.
For flipping heavy mats like down south.
And if you notice, the first 2 or 3 FLWs and the Bass Opens that they had in Florida at Okeechobee, they were pitching small plastic baits with 2 ounces of weight to get it through the hydrilla mats and the grass mats down there. And these guys aren't even sponsored by us, but they were all using the Super Duty and using 80-pound braid with it. Now, and if you're not familiar with braid doesn't have any stretch at all. So when you set that hook, pull back with, you got a 200-pound guy pulling a 2-ounce weight as hard as he can, slamming into a fish, that puts a lot of pressure, and we haven't had and we haven't had any problems at all with it. We have a tie space for it right in the middle, so you can tie your braid right directly to it, so you don't have any slippage that way, and then it adjusts from the outside also.
I noticed your BB1 has the same thing on on the spool.
Yeah.
The BB1 Pro.
Because if you just wrap braid,
if you don't put mono or something on
or have a secure tie, before you know it, you'll turn there and the braid will just sit there and you'll think my reel is broke, but it hasn't. It's just spinning on
the braid spinning on the spool. Yeah.
Now the very upper end of our reels is our Team Lose reel. It's got some super graphics to it. It has a side plate adjustment on it. It's very lightweight, weighs in right at 6 ounces. It's got EVA foam handles instead of the standard plastic, and the reason of that is to gain or to lose a little weight is why we do it. It's got carbon fiber. It's a really sweet reel. It sells for under $300.
Now on your BB1s, that's a big cranking reel. Now they're available in what, like 5-4 to 1 or 6-4 and then a 7.
And then you can get a 5 to 1.
A 5 to 1.
5 to 1 also. Yeah.
Okay.
Yep. And the 5 to 1 is our most popular for the crankbaiting guys. But you know, here again, we want to make things work for you out here. If you buy a BB1 and it's 5-to-1 and actually want a 5-to-4, we can change that out and ship it right to you before you even get to reel, if you prefer. Because we have some guys that are used to fishing 5-to-4s or whatever, and we can change that. But standard is 5-to-1 on it.
Okay. And as far as in the speed spools and the tournament series, all those come in 3 different speed ratios as well.
Right. Yeah. 7-to-1's our maximum right now. 6-to-4 is probably the average, the standard, because it's flexible. You can go both ways with it. Where the 7-to-1, if you're going to be working a big crankbait, you wouldn't want to use that because it's going to work you to death. You'd want to go back.
Yeah.
The other
Usually
way.
a guy can take a 6-4-to-1 and discipline himself to reel it slower.
Yeah. But the 7-to-1 is catching up in popularity. A lot of people use it for flipping or pitching simply because you can
make more casts,
get your line back in, and they're designed to where in years past the higher ratio you lost a lot of torque and a lot of power when you're trying to horse a fish out, but not so today.
Yeah,
the 7-to-1s are just astounding.
They've come so far on the gear cases.
That it's unbelievable. But
now the availability. I mean, I noticed you've got your product just about everywhere now.
Right.
I mean, you've got Cabela's. I see it in Dick's and Academy, Walmart.
Yeah. And then we have a multitude of dealers, small dealers throughout the country in the United States that do us a fantastic job. If you want to look at the specs and see what we have to offer, you can go to www.lewes.com, and it has all the specs, all the weights, the pricing, all there, and both our rods and reels and apparel.
And they can always call you.
You bet. Yep, they can always give us a call.
Well, Mike, thank you for your time today.
You bet. Thank you, Pete. Good fishing.